Hello, and welcome to another episode of Now We're Talking. I'm Scott.
I'm Julie.
And we've got another fun episode for you today. Julie's going to hit us with some This Week in History facts. We're going to talk about what we've done over the last couple of weekends. And we're going to talk a little bit about the decisions that were made at both the Los Angeles Times and the Washington Post on not endorsing a presidential candidate this year, and we're going to talk about the cowardice of those places, and we're going to delve into a little bit about Amazon itself, since Jeff Bezos is the owner of the Washington Post, and even though I know he's not as involved in Amazon anymore, he still owns a large percentage of or a large portion of shares in the company. I believe he still sits on the board. And so we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about that, right?
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good. I just would add that when we started doing this podcast, we sort of made a conscious decision not to make it all about politics. And we've done a pretty good job of trying to stay, true to that. Obviously, this is a monumental election year, and so much is riding on it that we actually feel at this point we'd be doing a disservice to anyone who might hear us to not talk about it a little bit. So
yeah, and I think I know that we kind of said that at one point, but when I think about the time that we spend talking at the dinner table and the topics that probably we're the most passionate about, it's usually about politics.
Yeah, it is.
And so I think, as you said, at this time in our, with the election coming up and with everything that's going on, and I think that if people are listening because they want to hear us talk about things that are of interest to us, that I think that should be one of the things. And I don't know about you, and I really didn't mean to start talking about like this way, but I, for one, can't wait until November 5th is come and gone. And
yeah, well, yeah, and the election is actually won or lost, by somebody, because we won't know who actually wins on election day.
That's true. Well, most likely.
Yeah. So but I agree. I'm ready for it to be over. I'm tired of all the text messages.
The emails.
It just
the
never
messages,
stops.
The ads.
Yeah.
I'm
over it.
Yeah, very much so. Like it's funny when I see like polls, or just articles or news stories about people that are not engaged in politics. And it just kind of amazes me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand how.
I know.
How is this going on in the world? And you're not paying attention.
The term undecided voter at this point, I don't get how anyone can be undecided.
Well, yeah, that too. But there's just, you hear about people that just, maybe as of like a month ago, they didn't even know that there was an election coming up, or, who was running or whatever. And you're just like, how? I don't get it. And maybe part of me is a little bit jealous because maybe your life is a little less stressful than ours. So anyway, I think maybe after, I don't know, you're right. It's not going to be November 5th, more than likely, that we know. But, say November 7th or whatever, when it's all over and we can focus on other things a little bit more, and a little bit less on politics.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Real nice. Yeah. There'll be lots.
Real nice.
Yeah, it'll be real nice.
It'll be real nice, Clark.
Yeah. All right. So this week in history, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
I don't have these in any particular order, but October 27th, the Boston Red Sox ended the curse of the Bambino. It was an alleged hex that began in 1920 when the team's owners sent Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees in exchange for $125,000 and a personal loan. Which just seems crazy to me, but anyway. They defeated St. Louis Cardinals by defeating the St. Louis Cardinals to win the World Series title, and it was the Red Sox first Major League Baseball championship in 86 years.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that that the money that the owner of the Red Sox got, he used to like put on a Broadway show or something.
Oh.
Like put on a musical, I think. I'd have to look that up, but that was what the money was for.
Oh, I get it. I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
All right. And then I got a couple for the 28th. One was October 28th, 1965, the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, Missouri, which was designed by a Finnish-born American architect by the name of Eero Saarinen. I don't know how to say his last name.
Nailed it.
To commemorate St. Louis's historic role as the gateway to the West. So that's on the was the 28th. I guess that was.
That'll be tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay.
That's cool. We actually got to go up in the arch.
We did.
That was fun.
Yeah.
The little
train thing.
rail car.
Yeah. I wonder if they're still using that.
Yeah,
it seems kind of antiquated at the time, but anyway. And then also on the 28th, the Statue of Liberty was dedicated. So in 1886, President Grover Cleveland officially dedicated the Statue of Liberty, which was a gift from France to the people of the United States.
Also my favorite Sesame Street character.
On Bedloe's Island, which was later named Liberty Island in the upper New York Bay. And then on the 30th...
Wait, hold on a second.
Okay.
Do you know the poem that's on the statue? That's on the base of the statue.
Oh, are you going to read it to us?
I am going to read it too, because I think it's important.
It is, yeah. Your Huddle Masses thing.
Yeah, so it is called The New Colossus. And it says, it's not very long, but it's more than what everybody knows. It says, not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch whose flame is the imprisoned lightning and her name, mother of exiles, from her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome, her mild eyes command. The air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame, keep ancient lands your storied pomp, cries she, with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.
Nice. Thank you for adding that.
I think that it's important that we remember what the gift from the French was and what that poem says.
Yeah.
That was dedicated on November 2nd, 1883. That's my dad's birthday.
Oh, nice.
Not 1883, obviously.
Right. Okay, so then October 30th in 1974, Muhammad Ali knocked out George Foreman in the Rumble in the Jungle, and he regained his world heavyweight boxing title.
It's kind of funny. I think Muhammad Ali was such a redemption story, because when he lost his title because he refused to he left to Canada to avoid the draft.
Yeah.
And I believe he went to Canada. I should probably check that before I spoke. But yeah, I mean, so his anti-war stance during the Vietnam era, it cost him the title. It cost him a lot of money. It cost him. I mean, I'm sure he had death threats and
probably
a lot of hatred from various parts of the country. And by the if you think back to what was it, 1986, the Atlanta Summer Olympics, when he lit the torch.
Oh,
he was the final. Yeah. He lit the cauldron, and
I remember that.
I mean, it was just such a redemption. But when he passed, he was so beloved.
Yeah.
And for someone who was, like I said, was hated in some parts because of his stance on the war.
Yeah. October 31st. October 31st, although Halloween, obviously, is celebrated that day. It's now observed largely as a secular holiday. Um, it is as the eve of All Saints' Day, also a religious holiday among some Christians. All Saints' Day in the Christian church, a day commemorating all the saints of the church, both known and unknown, who have attained heaven. It is celebrated on November 1st in the Western churches and on the first Sunday after Pentecost in Eastern churches. In Roman Catholicism, the feast is usually a holy day of obligation. It is part of a 3-day triduum dedicated to remembering the dead, beginning with Halloween on October 31st, All Saints' Day on November 1st, and All Souls' Day on November 2nd.
All right.
So there you go.
So there you go. It's funny thinking about Halloween. I remember as a kid, one year, my mom used to make, well, not one year, but my mom used to make our costumes.
Yeah.
And one year she made a costume. My costume was, I was a devil and my sister was an angel.
Oh.
And I thought, well, that pretty much describes how my parents thought of me.
So apropos.
Lisa was the angel, Scott was the devil. But did you guys have mischief night when you were growing up?
Well, I didn't.
Like the night, the night before Halloween?
Yeah, I think maybe when I got in high school, I was somewhat aware of it, but I don't think I ever.
I think they called it different things in different places. In the Northeast, at least where I was, growing up, it was just called mischief night. You'd go out and
toilet paper people's houses.
So, yeah, flaming bags of dog poo on their.
Oh gosh.
I went out with. I think the statute of limitations is passed, so I could tell this story. There's a. I don't know if I want to name drop. There's a guy who is a screenwriter, director, producer in Hollywood that I was friends with in high school.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I went out with him one mischief night, and he had a BB gun. And we were, I wasn't me. I was with him. I was an accomplice, but he shot at a back window of somebody's station wagon. And in all honesty, like with some of the air rifles, the more you pump them, the more pressure they have and the faster that the BB will go, right?
Right.
Well, he only pumped it like twice. And hand to heart, and we didn't think that it would break the window.
Just shattered it, didn't it?
It shattered it.
Wow.
We just thought we'd hear like this little tink.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was just like crash, and it was just glass everywhere.
Did y'all own up to it or no?
No. I mean, we felt bad. I mean, it really was. I mean, we really did not expect that to happen. And I guess if it was a windshield, it probably wouldn't have, right? Because windshields don't shatter that way. The tempered glass, or whatever that prevents it from. They might have got like a spider web crack or something,
right?
But it wouldn't have shattered it. But the back, and it was, remember the station wagons, the big window on the back.
Yeah.
Oh, I felt so bad. Anyway.
We had a big station wagon when we went on vacation. They had that seat that faced out the back.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We'd sit in the very back and look out the back.
Yeah,
window.
the way back.
Yeah.
So some of them had like seats that like would fold up like and face each other.
Oh.
And we had one that had that. So there were it was seats that looked in on each other.
Oh. Yeah, ours didn't do that.
And then we had one station wagon we had that was it would
back facing.
Yeah. Yeah. We used to not be. My sister and I were not good travelers. We both would get sick.
Oh gosh.
In the car.
Oh, okay. Moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah. So my last one is also October 31st, but in 1941, after nearly 15 years of work, the Mount Rushmore National Memorial in Black Hills, South Dakota was completed. The colossal sculpture features the heads of what presidents?
Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Lincoln.
Very good. And that concludes this day in history, or this week in history.
What year was that?
1941. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, no, there's a lot of controversy about Mount Rushmore and stuff, but I think if you can sort of divest yourself from the fact that it's yet more stolen land, it's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool sculpture.
Yeah, I've never seen it live.
Yeah, neither have I. And I think, from what I hear is like you don't get very close to it. Like there's like a pull off on the highway. And you're still like half a mile away from it.
Oh wow.
Maybe even more, I don't know. But if you ever see pictures like from the road, like of that's as close as you get.
Okay.
So anyway, all right, cool. Okay, so as I said in the opening, we wanted to sort of talk about the lack of presidential endorsements from two of the country's largest newspapers, the LA Times and the Washington Post. And just want to kind of just take half a step back. There's a guy on, there's a news guy, a journalist, a TV journalist on Threads that I follow from the Nashville area, Phil Williams. I'll get this out eventually. I know I'm kind of stuttering here, but Phil Williams, he's a great news guy, right?
Very good.
Investigative reporter. That's
Nashville-based.
Yeah, Nashville-based. Yeah. Very well respected around the country.
Yeah.
Anyway, he posted something about this that, based on the idea that historically newspaper endorsements don't mean a lot to who wins the elections.
Yeah.
And so, like, is it really a big deal that these two papers, the Washington Post and the LA Times, decided to not endorse a candidate this year? And my response to him was that my biggest problem with this is that for both of these papers, they had endorsements ready to go.
Right.
They didn't make this decision 6 months ago and said, hey, we're not going to endorse a candidate this year.
Right.
We're, the Washington Post, I don't know, editor-in-chief or whoever wrote some BS article, or piece about it, saying that they were just going back to their tradition because they, before 1960, they never endorsed a candidate. And so that they were just going back to the tradition of, which I call BS on.
Yeah.
I mean, again, from what I understand, the Washington Post was ready to endorse the vice president, and the LA Times was not only ready to endorse the vice president, but had articles that were going to be like one a day specifically about the election and their endorsement and why they endorsed Harris and why they were not, things about Trump.
Yeah.
And so in both cases, the billionaire owners of the papers, I can't remember the LA Times owner's name, Chun something. He's
hyphenated, I forget.
He's a South African immigrant, which we can all say what we think about rich South African immigrants in our country.
Yeah.
And of course, the Washington Post is owned by Jeff Bezos. And what appears to be happening is Bezos is afraid of losing more government contracts. If Trump were to win, then Bezos is worried that he would lose more military contracts. Either, I guess he has a contract for his rocket company, because every billionaire also has to have a rocket company. Blue Origin to build like a lunar module or something. And then he's also afraid that, any government agencies that use AWS services, Amazon Web Services for anything, that they'll lose that business as well. And so out of an abundance of caution and a fear of retribution, he quashed the endorsement this year. And I think it's just cowardice.
Absolutely.
It's
with a side of greed.
Yeah, exactly. There can be little doubt that, and this is kind of the sad part, is you should not be afraid that that there would be retribution from the president of the United States just because you supported their opponent in the race.
Right.
And I think that speaks volumes about what could happen if Trump were to win the election. I don't think that Fox News is worried that there'll be retribution from Harris if she were to win.
Right.
But yet the Washington Post, the LA Times, probably to some extent the New York Times, maybe CNN, even though CNN is just terrible anyway, or MSNBC, they probably fear retribution.
Sure.
And what does that tell you about that candidate?
Yeah. It should tell you everything you need to know about
really
why
should.
he shouldn't be president.
Right, exactly.
You shouldn't fear your president.
When if he were to win, he should become the president for the whole country,
right? Not
just the people that voted for him. And we go back to, and I don't want to get off on a tangent about Trump, but I will. This one thing was, all this stuff with the two, Helene and then Milton, that hit back to back, and all the stuff about FEMA and all the crap that was said by Trump and Vance and the rest of the right-wing nut jobs. When it comes out that when California had one of their natural disasters, Trump's staff had to literally show him how many people, like in Orange County, voted for him before he would agree to send funds there.
Right.
And that tells you everything.
Right.
That he's not going to be president for everybody. He's going to be president for people who voted for him. And the rest of us, the enemy within, we could be rounded up at any point.
Yeah.
And, that's what we're facing right now.
Yeah.
So, to get back to the original topic, it's just...
I know, it's hard not to go on and on.
It really is. But all this being said, there's nothing I can do about the LA Times. I don't subscribe to the LA Times. I had at points thought about it because it has been a good paper. There are some papers outside of the New York Times and the Washington Post that do good work. The LA Times, the Miami Herald, the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Sure.
There's some good work being done at these papers.
Yeah.
The Post Dispatch. There's a lot of papers that do well. The Detroit Free Press. Anyway, but I used to have a subscription to the Washington Post, and I finally gave that up. I don't know, maybe a year ago now, 9 months or a year ago, because I got tired of the crap opinion columns by Hugh Hewitt and Mark Thiessen, and some of these other knuckle draggers. And so I gave it up. And in the little survey, when you cancel your subscription, they asked, and I'm like, you fire those guys, you get rid of these people, then I'll probably come back, because I do think the Washington Post does some good reporting.
Sure, they've got great journalists.
They really do.
And some walked out.
Yeah.
as a result.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Some editors, some journalists walked out. And I don't want people to lose their jobs.
Right.
You know, it's not their fault. You know, that Bezos is a coward and that
Sun Xiong.
Sun Cheong, thanks, the LA Times owner.
We need to say his name.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But anyway, I I couldn't I couldn't spend the money on a Washington Post subscription anymore. So today, you know, because like I think that Bezos, like, I think he actually has done some good at the Washington Post. Like, it hasn't been all bad, and he's thrown money into it. And you know, there are a lot of good journalists, like we were saying, that work there, and probably some of that is because Bezos was the owner, and they probably could have gone to somebody worse. It's just that at this point, he stepped over the line.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I did today was I canceled our Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Just as a because I think this is where we're going to hit. I think this is where you hit Bezos, even though he's not really part of the company. Like I said at the beginning, he owns, you know, some percentage of shares. He is on the board. You know, I want it to be a message, and quite frankly, I think Amazon sucks.
Yeah.
I think Amazon is part of what's wrong with our economy, with you know, in our country, and the way that we have become so consumer driven, and we've become this country of I've got to have it now.
Yeah.
I got you can get this. You can get me this today. Oh, that's great.
And I don't have to even get off my couch.
I don't have to answer the door because I'm going to get an email telling me, and I can just go get it from my porch whenever I'm ready.
Right.
I don't have to do anything. And I think that we've made it so easy, and places like Amazon, even places like Walmart and stuff, you know, we know what they've done to mom and pop stores.
Right.
You know, when Amazon got started, right, Amazon was a bookstore. It was the world's bookstore, whatever their tagline was. And they purposely like priced their books, like, not to make money, but to put mom and pop independent bookstores, and even like other chains like Walden Books, and, you know, remember the Walden Books and B. Dalton, out of business, you know. And like, that was their goal. Their goal was, and this is what they do, right? They put companies, they find a niche, and they either buy the company, like they did with Audible and Zappos, and probably other companies that, you know, that they you know, so they either buy the company up, or they just undercut their prices so much that they put them out of business. And, you know, if you're a mom and pop bookstore, you can't keep everything in stock. Right. Like, you don't have the warehouse that Amazon has.
Sure.
Or you don't have the money to buy the books, hoping that a customer is going to come in and buy them from you.
Right.
So, you know, you go to the independent bookseller. I should call it that instead of mom and pop. I should be more the independent bookseller. And you say, I want book X. And they're like, well, it's going to take 4 days or 5 days or a week because we don't carry that.
Right.
And you go, well, I can get it tomorrow from Amazon.
Right.
And so.
And cheaper, because Amazon can buy hordes of them.
Right.
You know, and get a discounted price. So they can afford to sell it for less than the independent bookstore owner. Yep. And that's what irritates me so bad, is that, yeah, I can get in my car and drive somewhere to pick up something that I want, but it's not just the convenience, it's also the price. Right. You know, so people like us who watch how we spend our money, it makes sense to buy the same thing cheaper than I would get it anywhere else.
Right.
And so to lose that really bothers me.
Well, so I did some because we had 5 or 6 items that we had on their subscribe and save. Right. And one of the things, I didn't look at all the prices, but I remember looking at one, and it was, actually, the shampoo and conditioner that we use, you can get the shampoo and conditioner together from Walmart for $11 cheaper.
Okay.
Than at Amazon.
Oh, all right.
And one other thing, I forget, it was either the salt flakes that you use or something else, I forget. And it was $1 more.
Okay.
And so I mean, I'm not going to quibble over $1. So here's the thing, though. Like, we spent. It was just. I don't know if I said this, but the timing is everything, because tomorrow, our yearly Amazon Prime membership was about to renew.
Oh, good. You caught it just in time.
Just in time. And that's like $137.
Oh, wow.
And that's another thing. It used to be like $90 or $99 or something. Yeah. And it's gone up like 2 or 3 times. One of the things that Amazon does well is that subscribe and save, right? You put it. You say, I every 4 weeks I want this sent to me. Every 6 months, I need a new box of doggy poop bags.
Yeah.
And it just schedules it, right? So then I wondered about that, and I said, well, is it really having that feature? Is that really that big a deal?
Yeah.
So what I did was, like I went over to Walmart, and I'm not going to advocate for Walmart, but I just wanted to find something, find our stuff that we got somewhere else, just to make sure, we could get it and the prices weren't crazy. And, I think, and we'll get back to what I think we should be doing. But so I went over to Walmart and I made a list, of just like reorder stuff, or I forget what I called it, like stuff we order, and it's just like, so when we go like, oh, I'm almost out of salt, you can go and look at that list and go, oh, there's the salt. I don't have to do any searching. I don't have to, I can find it. Okay. You know what I mean? Or like, so just like, it'll make it easy. Like, we don't have to, more often than not, like, we get the subscribe and save stuff and we get it like before we need it,
right.
Or whatever. So I was just like, I don't know that it's nice, but do you have to have it?
No, not really.
Is it worth it? So what I think we should do, what I think everybody should do is, like, forget the convenience of it. If it everything is at your fingertips, and your Amazon, just because where to, I know I can get it at Amazon, doesn't mean that you can't get it other places.
Right.
And just because, like, you may not be able to get everything you want. So I looked for some articles on like alternatives to Amazon, and there's like Thrive and there's Temu, but don't go to Temu, because if you think Amazon's products have gotten cheap, Temu takes like the cheapest Amazon products and makes them even cheaper.
Right.
So don't, so I think that, I think that we can find stuff and we can use some of these other. Oh, and they said like Etsy, and I'm like, Etsy. I don't think. I don't know.
I guess it depends on what it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know we've bought some stuff from Etsy.
Yeah.
Like, I bought that. I think that that jersey, the Roy Kent jersey that I got. I think we got from Etsy, and it's pretty good quality, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway. The only thing that I think I'm really going to miss is Thursday night football.
Oh, right.
And I don't know what I'm going to do if the Eagles or the Seahawks play on a Thursday night.
Yeah. Well, if the Seahawks play like they played today, that'll be okay.
That's a good point. I don't know. I mean, that's the only thing. And there's a couple of shows on Prime that I watch.
Yeah.
And since I'm not gonna be able to finish watching it, and that kind of bums me out unless I stay up all night tonight and finish watching.
Oh, before it.
Watching, yeah,
Actually,
before.
yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I think that's the only thing. But even like Prime, the video stuff has gone downhill, and I'm like, you pay like $138 a year or whatever, and yet I have commercials on my in Prime videos now.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't like that. I don't. But it is what it is, and I just think, like I said at the beginning, I think that Amazon has made us lazy when it comes to shopping, and it's made us like too focused on getting stuff right away.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, how did we ever live without
I know, it's crazy.
being able to get
salt tomorrow? Oh, no, I know.
We just have to like plan a little bit more.
We're very spoiled. It's a very first world.
And one of the things too is like we can like Walmart has like free shipping. Target, you can either like there's ways you can get like free shipping from Target as well, or you can always just go and pick it up.
Right. It's not that far from us.
It's like 10 minutes away.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm not gonna cry. And is Jeff Bezos going to miss our $137 when he's sitting on $200
not one
billion?
bit. Ours they won't, but they've had like Washington Post has had like a few thousand people cancel their subscriptions.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is I was just let me finish that. I don't know how many people are going to cancel Prime, but I think there's going to be some portion of people that will. And I don't know. There's a part of me that says like we should just be done with it, even if like there's some change of heart by Jeff.
Yeah.
But I think that when you look beyond this and you look at the consumerism and you look at that maybe we're better off without it. In the long run, in any case. The other thing too is, and I mentioned that, they buy up other stuff, is I've also canceled my subscription with Audible. Mm-hmm. And that would have renewed the beginning of December, so in a month. And that was another like $240.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was that much.
Yeah, because I upped, because you had started to ask for books, I upped it to 2 credits a month.
Oh.
And so you pay it all at once, and then you get 24 credits, and you have a year to use them.
I gotcha.
So I'm actually out of credits right now. The nice thing about it is that I'll always have access to my library.
Oh.
And then I was like, well, I found another audio book store called Libra.
Okay.
And they've got an app and everything. And I looked at some of the books, like over on Audible, I have books like in my wish list. And so I looked to see if, the books in my wish list and some of the other authors that I listen to are in there, and they have them. So, but I'm not going to sign up for anything because I probably have, I don't know, I have probably 10 books in Audible that I haven't listened to yet. And I have like another like 5 books that I'm in a series that I'm re-listening to. And those 5 books are probably 160 hours of listening. So I'm good for a while.
Yeah.
Probably maybe in the spring, maybe about the spring or next year this time.
Right.
I'll be ready to find another audiobook provider. I don't know. We'll see. But like I love Audible. And so it always bothered me that Amazon bought them.
Yeah.
And I've had a membership with Audible for, I think, 14 years. I think I started in 2010, somewhere around there. So it kind of bothers me that I'm not going to, I have to find something else. So.
Well, it's important to take a stand, though. So we did it, and I'm glad. I'm sorry it was necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, that was our heavy conversation.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
hope I didn't get too animated.
Well, we don't have a ton of listeners yet, but anyone who listens, I sure hope you're voting this year. It's going to be really pivotal election on what this country looks like come January.
Yep.
So we've got work to do, y'all.
Definitely. Well said. Okay, so the last topic we wanted to talk about is camping out. Is that what we call it, camping out?
I guess I'll start by saying when my sister and I were little, with these little cots that my parents had that we would take camping sometimes, but they would let us put them in the backyard, and we slept outside in the backyard a lot as kids.
Did you?
And so I had suggested we sleep outside, I guess. Well, we actually had it scheduled a couple of times, but then I got sick and something else happened. I don't remember anyway.
I think it was too hot.
Yeah, the temperature was.
Yeah, we got that little heat wave, little return to the Indian summer.
So when I put it on your calendar, I just called it Slumber Under the Stars.
Okay.
And so you can call it camping out or whatever you want. But yeah, we sleep outside now. We have a blow-up mattress that we put up on the upper part of our deck. It's a little more covered, and we can hang blankets over the rail to give us more privacy. And there's a little fireplace that we took the gas thing out, but we just have candles sitting in it now. So it's nice. And
there's a TV out there too.
Yeah. So, we just get comfy on the bed, and we can either watch Carolina Hurricanes or a football game or turn it off and talk about the first thing that comes up. So we have fun. I mean, I love sleeping outside. And the temperatures have gone to like 41, 42 degrees in the early morning. So it's just it's invigorating. It's great to smell the fresh air all night. And we're lucky we live in a quiet neighborhood. So this was our third time sleeping out.
Our fourth night, because last weekend we slept out both Saturday and Sunday nights.
Yeah.
So, and I think we slept out one night before that.
Okay.
So I think this is at least our fourth.
Okay. And it's been without incident, but I will say that the time before last night, which I guess would have been last Sunday, there was a skunk in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And Scott didn't smell it at all because he'd already fallen asleep. But I woke up and I'm like, oh my God, what if it's up in our yard? And I would kind of just peeked underneath the blanket to see if I could see it, and I couldn't see anything, but boy, I could smell it for a long time. But other than that, it's been.
Well, the one night I heard.
Oh, you did hear
something. Something on the patio down below us.
Yeah.
I heard like the nails, the claws, or whatever. Oh. I think it was. My guess is that it was like a rabbit, or.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we do have a lot of rabbits around here.
Yeah, that's my guess. That it was a rabbit, but. I don't know.
But I do love it. I can't wait. I mean, I know pretty soon it's going to be too cold to do at all, but for every weekend between now and our first frost, I guess, I'm going to suggest we sleep outside on Friday and or Saturday nights.
Yeah, and I love the cold. Yeah. Like, when I stay at a hotel, like the first thing I do is I turn the air way down.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing better than being cold and getting in
to a bed,
and like whether like that down, I guess that's down the comforter that we have, and that keeps the heat in, man.
Yeah, it does.
And same thing like at Marriott, those big comforters that they have on the beds are just you just get underneath them, just burrow down. And I love that.
Yeah, I do too. And oddly enough, you talk about how we stay warm underneath that blanket. My Oura ring said that I had an elevated body temperature. last night. So that just seems crazy. But
the air temperature is like 44 degrees.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yet I'm hot. So anyway,
I think it's fun.
it is fun.
I
can't suggest enough that you'll try it if you live in a neighborhood. And I have a group of friends that I call my posse, and we have a group text that we stay in touch with almost every day. And so I told them that we were camping out in our backyard, and one of my girlfriends said that they live in their neighborhood. They have a neighbor who stays outside. They have a pool, and so they stay outside until 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Carrying on. So she said we would never get any sleep.
That's too bad.
Yeah. So I just hadn't really thought much about it, but I'm really thankful that we live in such a quiet neighborhood. So we sleep undisturbed.
Yeah. One of our neighbors was having a Halloween party last night, and I wondered if that would be.
Oh.
But I never
heard anybody.
And it certainly didn't keep me awake.
And there were a lot of cars out there.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Yeah.
That's a good time.
Yeah.
Something different.
Yeah.
I don't always sleep well, but not too bad.
Yeah, it's not awful.
Of course, being old, it's hard to get up off of that air mattress.
It is. There's no graceful way to do it.
It really isn't. There's not a whole lot of room, and Anyway, I think that's it. That's our show.
Yeah.
You guys can reach us. We'd love to, smash that subscribe button and give us a rating and a review wherever you're listening to us from. We also, I'm going to surprise Julie, I set up an email address that you can email us at the number 1, now we're talking at gmail.com.
Okay.
Because yes, now we're talking at gmail.com was taken.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it suggested now we're talking 8. I was like, I don't know. So anyway, the number 1, now we're talking at gmail.com.
Okay.
All right. That's our show. And our music today, of course, is by London Bailey. And like I said, hit that subscribe button. Give us some ratings, reviews. Let us know how we're doing. Use that email address if you want to, give some feedback or topics. Yeah. Anything you want to talk about, we'd be happy to, dive into it.
Sure.
All right. Thanks. We'll talk to you next week.